Hey, um, I chose to go live instead of pre-record. Um, okay, I needed the video there. I am in what I call the Serenity Room. I should have got the damn fan and brought up here. Is this really warm? Could be that, or the fact that I'm sipping wine. Anyway, let me give a little light, a little more light. Okay, that's better. Forgive me if the camera is going in and out. I chose to go live as opposed to pre-recording. Um, I have had one hell of a week, and I had got these microphones, and I'm not exactly sure how they work. I just assume that they do work, and I am not sure. Maybe if I needed to download an app or something like that before using it. I don't know. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I pray that you guys can hear me. Um so okay, there's like an app, I don't know. Oh shit. Microphone access is on. Okay. Okay, everything is on. Okay, that's fine. So I don't know. Hope I don't know, y'all. Let me get my wine. Just let me let me collect myself. Y'all know this ain't no professional ass show. I try to be as good and professional as possible, but this shit is just too real. It's too real. Life is very fucking real. Yes, I had the honorable Malik El Shabazz. Um, Let me just do a disclaimer. I'm gonna be everywhere. There are many points that I want to make, that I should make, that I will make. It's just right now I am very, very vulnerable, and I'm just gonna pour, right? I'm gonna release. And I really hope this shit working. I don't really know how to play it back or ensure that it's working, or do I need to hold this shit? Cause it's like going green and red. I don't even know what that means. Um, what about the volume on here? Is the volume good? If the volume is good, I should be okay. You know. I'm gonna be all over the place because okay, I don't know. It's saying something about the microphone apps, but I didn't install any microphone apps. But I can see that my voice is being recorded, so we're just gonna go with it. Um, First of all, I want to just say thank you to my spiritual team for giving me the strength to be able to get through these past couple of days. I did a live on Facebook uh, because I received some terrible, terrible news Sunday, April 28th. I got the news from a detective that Judas, but guess what? I'm no longer going to call him Judas because I'm going to put some respect on his shit. I'm going to put some respect on his name. Mr. Jeter um, suffered an untimely death. Uh, very untimely, very shocking, very unfortunate. Um, so my thoughts are going to be a little bit all over the place. But this, to a degree, is my documentary, right? As well as my channel. And so it went a little something like this. I'm trying to find somewhere to start. Um, I got out of work. We're not allowed to take our phone into the establishment. If those of you who know what I do, then you understand. And if you don't know, it's fine. No need to really understand. I can't take my phone into the establishment. So when I was finally able to gain access to my phone, because I am now leaving the establishment, um, I had like three or maybe four missed calls from an unknown number. Um, wasn't even interested in calling back. But what I make a habit of doing is when I get off of work, I check in with my children, as most parents probably do. Um, so I checked in with my oldest, and he told me that a detective had called looking for me. Um, excuse my phone, that's my phone. I'll turn it down. At the time, I was confused. I was saying, what did this person want? What did he call for? My son is like, well, Ma, I really don't know. Shit. Well, okay. I said, give me the number that they called from. So the number that they called from was the four missed calls from that I missed. Um, I want to tell a story while it's still fresh on my mind. I don't want to forget anything, because sometimes my mind becomes so overwhelmed because I'm an overthinker. Um, I become so overwhelmed that I can forget things unintentionally. It's just so. It's now like 11:30 at night. I called the number back. Someone did answer, and he said, there's a detective that wants to speak with you. Um, but he is not here at the moment. This is his work phone. He left his phone at work. He's not here at the moment. He will be back in the morning. And when he comes back in the morning, I will have him to return your call. I will leave a message. So if you don't mind, ma'am, my name is Detective So and so. Can you tell me your name? And I told him my name. Um, and he said, oh, okay. Um, yes. Are you um or do you know a Mr. Wayman Jeter? Shit. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter now. And I paused for a second, because of my occupation. I'm trying to see if I should answer this question. Um, and before I can answer, while I'm still thinking, I'm trying to figure out which angle he's coming at. Before I could answer, he says to me, we did a search and we found your number, and we're assuming that you are the ex-wife. And I said, I am. And he said, I regret to inform you that Mr. Jeter has passed away. And in that moment, I became hysterical, confused. I couldn't really get a grip on myself. I'm sure I was asking him questions, but I was just going so fast. I couldn't really formulate the words. He asked me to calm down, um, but not in a disrespectful way. He realized that I was like belligerent at this point, and he wanted to try to help me. He said, I apologize that I have to tell you over the phone. This is really not my case. It is my partner's case, but he had been trying to reach you. And I will relay the message to him and he will call you first thing in the morning. Or if you see fit, you call him back in the morning. He'll have more details as to what happened. He said, right now, I don't have that many details because he is on the case. Um, I immediately call Miss Jeter, which is his mom. Um, I was able to relay a message to her because I needed her to help me figure out what the fuck was going on, what the fuck happened, and what was this fucking detective talking about on my fucking phone. Um, I had a very close friend of mine, my sister Jem, and I call her Jem because her sign is a Gemini, right? And she sat with me for a while because I needed to calm down before I can drive anywhere. Uh, the next morning, I was in touch with the detective again, the mother again. This time I told, I spoke with my oldest and informed him what was going on. And yeah, yeah. Um, I went through what I went through, a whole emotional roller coaster about it. Whole emotional roller coaster about it because, as you guys know, this channel started with the heartbreak of Mr. Jeter, one of the loves of my life. And let me just, in his death, I'm going to put some respect on his name. And at the same time, I'm going to be very real, like I've always been real. Right? I've always been honest on this channel, I've always been real from my perspective of our relationship and our situation. I was angry with Mr. Jeter. Um, the anger started with the breakup, but over time, as I begin to pray and meditate and seek answers, this is how tarot came into my life because he left our family so, what I would say, abruptly. I was looking for answers, trying to find answers, but just a little before that, let me bring clarity. Just a little before that, um, I had a calling for tarot, and I started to getting into tarot, and um, I basically started getting into tarot because I had this huge dilemma in my mind, and I was receiving divine answers on it, but I was seeking clarity. That's initially how I got into tarot, right? Um, and because it just seemed like um, my spirituality was conflicting with my logic. My intuition was conflicting with my logic. And I was definitely getting answers to what I meditated on or what I prayed on regarding this huge decision that I want to make. Um, but still, my mind would not accept those answers, and so I felt like maybe the message would come through tarot if I digged a little more, or maybe if I watched it, I'll be able to get my answers that way. Um, and then when the heartbreak came and the breakup came, I dug even more into tarot because I was searching for answers because everything was just a big ball of confusion. I couldn't understand, right? Um, and so let me just say this about tarot, because there are certain religions that will say tarot is witchcraft. Tarot is the devil's playground. But let me make this abundantly clear from my perspective, right? Because I'm just giving you a different perspective if this is your thought process. I believe tarot is another tool for a way to instantly connect to your spiritual team when in need, right? Um, I believe that the reason why there's so many other cultures that can play on our intelligence and our spirituality is because they learn so much about our culture from the very beginning. They learn so much about it, and then they brainwashed us with other cultures into making us believe that our original culture is demonic. Our original culture, our original people, where they come from, had a connection with the universe and with the creator in different ways. Some of them are spoken on in Christianity. So you had, pardon me for not being able to know the exact name right now, but okay, let's say Noah. You had Noah who got the divine message to be able to build the ark and put two of each animal so that they can procreate for the new world, right? There's other I don't want to say Daniel because I'm not sure, but long story short, there are other people in a biblical sense, prophets who prophesize, who have special gifts, certain gifts where they're able to connect with the universe and the creator if need be, when need be, to be given direction or being able to teach. Um, and then these other cultures teach us their way or brainwashed us into doing things their way and having us thinking that what the gifts that we have and the way that we're able to communicate with the earth, with the ancestors, with the creator is demonic. And in fact, it is not. They definitely took many pages out of our books, added some of their own shit to it, and that is what made it demonic. Okay. Because the intent, our intent from the very beginning was always to populate, to love each other, to have a sense of familyship, of kinship, to understand astrology, the stars, the moon, where the creator resides at, to learn the earth, respect the earth, nurture the earth, right? That is from the very beginning. To build a relationship with our universal parents so that we can have immediate access to divine guidance. Um, Other religions see that, they want to try to claim it, they want to try to proclaim it, and they want to try to make it seem as though the origin in which we come from and the spirituality in which we practice is demonic. And I just want you to know it is not. Um, in warfare, right? Whether it's spiritual or whether it's physical, it is a known fact that the enemy studies its prey. And I just think that we need to get back to the essence, learn more about ourselves. And of course, religion is totally up to you. But I will say again that I do not want the interpretation of a middle person to deliver a message to me that they believe is being sent to me. I don't want a third party to interpret uh, any uh, biblical Torah, any type of divine uh, meaning and association and understanding. I don't want a third party being able to dictate that to me. I believe that every person relationship with the creator is different. Everyone have different gifts and everyone has a different purpose of being here. And once you get into alignment with all of that, your messages will be different. Your guidance will be different. And it will probably be different than anyone else's. And it doesn't mean that we can't get along. It doesn't mean that we can't coexist. It just means that you're here for your purpose to do what you need to do, and I am here for mine. And however you get your message, I'm not here to judge it. I'm just simply saying that I prefer not a reverend or a pastor or a um bishop or an what was they calling these women? I can't remember right now. I'm trying to work my way through this. Um I just don't want to I don't feel like I need a third party to deliver a message to me at all. I get divine messages in my dreams. My intuition is on point. My discernment is getting better. That is my divine and unique connection with the creator. I don't need anybody to intervene with that. Um so today was a day. I did not show up to work. I could not. Um the intent was to go because I felt like the distraction would be good to a degree. Um but then I got this gentle reminder to allow myself grace, and that whatever it was that I felt, it is okay to express it. Um, because I don't want to hold it or continuously hold it. and have it all bottled up. Um, so I kind of just took my time getting ready. Part of me is trying to convince myself to go to work today. Um, I was just so back and forth, you know, and decided, well, you know what? I think I need to get home because I need to be able to break this news to our youngest. And I was able to go through whatever I needed to go through because the ride from my workplace, because I started going in the direction of work, and next thing you know, I'm going in the direction of home because I'm like, and the drive time, I have a suffice amount of travel time, which is anywhere between an hour and a half to 2 hours. And I was able to just go through whatever I needed to go through at that time and then pull myself together in time to be able to have a conversation with my youngest. I arrived at home at 3:33 on the dot. Three in numerology means um, divine timing. It also means that the spirits are near and they're here to support you, the spirit guides. And he gets home about 3 o'clock. So when I came inside the door, he was doing his chores, and I told him we needed to talk, and we spoke. And today was just one of those days that you know how death is. Um, Oftentimes, not all the time, because we sometimes deal with people in our lives that have poor health, or maybe it's elderly and their health is declining. So in certain situations, when you understand what's going on with people, what what they may be going through, it's not a surprise. But this was not only a surprise. um for me, it was a devastation. um there's so many messages that I have been getting along with me on this emotional roller coaster, and me probably overthinking. And so sometimes when my head get clouded, I can't really tell the messages from my logic. But what I can say is that it was a horrible accident, and I hope that he did not have pain. I hope he did not suffer. I hope that it was just over fast enough for him not to have pain. Because see, he and I, we've been through a lot as a couple. All couples go, through their shit. And even in my heartbreak, I did not wish death on him and would not wish death on him. Anger, yes. Hurt, yes. Confusion, yes. This is what I'm feeling. Um, Along with other things. Um, Anger, hurt, confusion, betrayal, uh, but not death. You know, not death. In the beginning, we built this relationship that I thought was solid and that I thought would last a fucking lifetime. Some relationships, and I'm going to talk really grown right now, some relationships transcend infidelity, right? The man was incarcerated for 13 and a half years. Of course, I wanted him and myself to be together. I wanted our family. Once I was able to get past the fact that we wouldn't be able to be a family, I was able to get into a space where I could forgive him because in seeking answers that I never got from him, um, but I was able to get it through my intuition, tarot at times, and um, I was able to get to this place where I could forgive him. I don't know if he had another uh, lover or woman, significant other. I don't even know. To this day, I don't know. But my human experience is telling me that it could be a possibility. Yeah, and still, um, I found my peace with that because when I make the reference and say some relationship transcends infidelity, I'm saying that because I feel like this was an exception, right? Because as much as I wanted to be with him, he's been away from society and the women alone for 13 and a half, going on 14 years. You have solely been around men. Maybe a female officer here and there, but you have solely lived your life solely around men. So now, when you regain your freedom, you may want to experiment a little bit because you are in a certain mindset. I don't know if this is a decision that he made prior to. I don't even know if I just was able to make my peace with it. Like, you know what? Before he actually settled down, he may feel like he got some living to do. He missed a lot. He missed a lot. And I made my peace with it. That we couldn't be together. And but my resentment started to fade. The betrayal, I made my peace with. And then the anger stayed. And the anger stayed because of the type of parent that he was. I don't want to say that he turned into. Um, Maybe I can say that because I was under one impression while he was incarcerated. And after we broke up, it was just like he just wasn't even living up to his parental responsibility. and it was frustrating. He had bouts, in and out. Sometime he would keep in touch with the boys, and then sometime he wouldn't. He was like in and out, and I was frustrated about that, angry about that, because as a parent, it's just like, yo, I'm saying, yo, you're not going to be playing these emotional games with my kids. And the oldest one, he's big, he may be able to handle himself a little different, but as an active parent, I'm still have concerns. And when it came to the little one, I'm like, I am not going to deny you ever to see him or to spend time with him or anything like that. But this in and out shit, it has to stop, because I didn't want it to take a mental wear and tear on our youngest. And so, um, that's what I was angry about, because he was in and out. And during the times that he was out, and even the times that he was in, I don't know what else he may have been going through. I'm sure that he's had trauma. He was dealing with some type of trauma. We had looking back now, I have a different understanding that I didn't have at the time. Um, Let me tell you what I mean. When he accused me of having an affair with his brother, yes, he did. I'm not sure if you guys all remember that. When he accused me of having an affair with his brother, of course I was irate. Um, and what I began to think was, okay, he don't want to be in a relationship with me. Perhaps there is someone else, and he's trying to find a way out. And my argument with him was, I realized that as much as we grew together, we grew apart. However, I am not that type of bitch that's gonna go that fucking low. And for you to think that is just disgusting. And for you to try to figure a way out instead of just talking to me about it so we can come to some type of conclusion is equally as disgusting. Because you're trying to not defame, but you're trying to stain my character because you can't make up your mind what you want for you. And fast forward to now, at his untimely death, I have been going through it emotionally, and I think that perhaps that could be one option what he was doing, trying to shatter my character in the eyes of his family and in the eyes of his friends and people who really like didn't know me, um but trying to destroy my character because he needed to feel adequate in making his decision not to stay. Because from the outside looking in, people would say, or think, you and this girl been together forever, and she's been with you through one of the toughest times in your life, and you want to leave her. And he was aware that people would look at him a certain way. So in order to gain the support of, let's just say, the masses, you have to try to destroy my character so that it's understandable the decision that you're making to leave. Right? So now nobody's gonna look at you crazy because if she was fucking with you, hell yeah, who the fuck gonna stay? No matter what. You understand? Um, but as I look back, Um, I kept getting divine messages of trauma, right? Trauma, trauma, trauma. And I've concluded that during those times, he may very well have been trying to destroy my character so that he could leave. That's one option. Another way to look at it is that perhaps he was trying to find a way to cope with trauma, and maybe there's pieces of this trauma that he did not want to expose to me and the kids, and maybe leaving, right? Or not being around us was his way of dealing with trauma and showing love. Because when you love people, you don't want them caught up in your shit, right? That's another way to look at it. And I'm trying to make peace with the anger that I had left, because it's just energy I don't even know what to do with. I feel so conflicted about every fucking thing. Everything. Because to the human eye and to logic, it's like I'm saying, damn, well, you don't even love your kids. You're not trying to have a rapport with them consistently. It's like, you're in, you're out, and but spiritually, I'm getting trauma, trauma. And so he was in and out because, he was dealing with trauma, different types of trauma stemming from childhood. Um, all the way up into the 14-year incarceration. And he probably didn't know how to deal with it or how to cope with it. He never came to me and asked for help. But he was just so um, accusatory and mean, very mean to me. And like I couldn't understand it. Humanly speaking, I only kept coming up with the reservation that he didn't want to be in this home and that he just didn't know how to tell me. Um, Finally, I guess he had enough, and he left for good, because we're talking a stint over about 9 months. No, no, we're talking about a stint of 6 to 7 months. Um, him being released, um, and us moving, you know. Wait, wait, right? Okay, right, and then July. So it was July 21st of 2021. that he left for good. September 26, 2020, he was released, and by July 21st of 2021, um, he had ultimately decided that I guess that he needed to get away, but this was never relayed to me. We just that night before he left, um, the boys went to the city. Ty was dating his my daughter-in-law now. This is before my grandson came. They were dating. Um, the youngest still has some friends out there, and so Ty was like, "Well, what we gonna do? We're gonna spend a weekend in the city, and you and Dad will be able to be here and chill." And I thought it was a great idea. I thought that we would be able to use this time to kind of reconnect and to have a very vulnerable and honest conversation because we were so up and down. And what happened was we didn't. We didn't. We had argued 2 days and one night. The entire weekend he was gone, we argued. The whole Saturday night, the whole Sunday, until they came back Sunday evening. Um, and he was packing his things to leave, and he made a couple of phone calls, and left. And for a long time, I was just so broken and so confused and looking for answers and searching for answers. And every once in a while, he would call me and want to talk, but of course now I don't want to talk. And I'm starting to enforce. Listen, the boys have their own number. In order to be um, a co-parent, you need to be able to reach out to them and contact them. So contact them because at this time I don't want to talk. I just feel like we have nothing to talk about, with the exception of visitations, and you know. And even with all of that, the hurt, the pain, the disappointment, the betrayal, the resentment, the anger, I didn't wish death on him. I just really wanted him to pull his shit together if for his kids and nothing else. It definitely confused me how you wouldn't be able to use your kids for inspiration. But again, I kept coming up with trauma. So if you didn't have your father in your life and you know your mom wasn't around that much, because she was a working parent, a working young parent with a lot of kids and whatever the fucking scenario is or was, he wouldn't want to hear it. So I would have to text it. But whenever I got a divine message, I would text it to him. And, you know, because at this point, I'm just like, okay, it's clear that you have parent issues. You got mommy issues, you got daddy issues. And I just want you to get a different perspective and try to understand that as young parents, with not too many resources at that time, they did the best that they could do. So I understand that you have some type of frustration, but you must find a way to work on that because I don't want it to affect the relationship you have with your kids now. I don't want it to affect you mentally to the point that you're well in your adulthood, you done moved on, and but you're still blaming them. I want you to try to make some type of peace. And I don't know. I don't know. I know that you cannot want more for someone else that they want for themselves. I know that you can't live for other people. You can't change people. But I tried to do at the time what I thought was right. We moved to the state because my logic was I am going to take my family out of the communities, the lifestyle that took him away from us from the beginning for so long. Because that 14 years was not his only bid, it was his longest bid. But while I'm out here raising these kids, it was a decision that I made, an executive decision that I made to say, once I get my family back, I'm going to take us out of the fucking hood because there's different type of pressures in the hood. And as a black man, coming back into the lives of his family and coming back into society, if I can change some of those pressures for him to make it a little easier for him and for us, my sons too. I'm not going to make it seem like, I made an executive decision because I was just thinking about me. No, it wasn't about that. I just thought that it would be a great move for the family. The schools is different, the community is different. And when we used to shop, we would see a lot of families together. When he became employed, um, husbands and wives would definitely converse with him and ask his opinion because of where he worked at. And I remember clearly, clearly, clearly. Um, so I have a big patio umbrella for shade on the deck. He bought it. He actually bought three. First, he bought a black one. Then there was another one with that came with lights. So he took the black one back and brought. It was like red, like burgundy. It was more burgundy. He bought that, and then he took that back and bought the gray one that's out there now. And he worked at the store in which he bought it, and they gave him a discount and they worked with him, which is why he was able to switch it out so much because he was just like looking for the right fit for what what we were trying to do back there. And I remember clearly a guy coming in and saying, well, how is this thing? And he's like, it's great. He's like, yeah, because my wife, she's always in the house. And I got our deck redone and I'm looking to decorate it. And I brought her here with me so that she can help me to decorate it. And I think this would be great for her. I'm trying to get her to be outside a little more instead of being in the house. And, I thought that was romantic, and I thought it was a great gesture that, the husband was just thought enough of the wife. Like, you're always in the house and I want to make outside look better so that you can come outside and sit outside for a little while. And, um, you know, Mr. Jeter not only recommended the product, but, I, he explained to the man, it was worth the price and, it would definitely get her outside. And I mean, it's just so untimely deaths are so fucking shocking because I know that we have both changed as individuals, right? When we were younger, he was a fighter. He was a fighter. And I loved that and respected that about him so much. And I'm not just saying that, he was a fighter because he was a street dude, but a lot of beliefs that we had at the time were the same. Um, he was a great conversationalist. And I don't want to go so far as to say an activist because he wasn't like a public activist, but he definitely spoke up for what was right and what was wrong, and that's what I mean by like he was a fighter, and whatever situation was presented to him. In the neighborhoods that we lived in, he had vastly became popular. Um, and he was a fighter, and I've always and spoke well and so when I see, when it became painfully obvious that he would not fight for us or help me to fight for us, um, that's when I realized I've been the one pouring this whole fucking time. And then when I humanly see that he wasn't fighting for his kids. He wasn't using them as inspiration to keep going, to have a consistent relationship with them, to keep them around. And he wouldn't fight for that relationship. Um, that anger just stewed right back up in me, and the message that I'm getting out of have been getting since I got the news of trauma lets me know that I was seeing it wrong, that he in fact was fighting. Him being in and out was not my original thought of him being selfish or not loving his kids and not wanting to bond with them and not using them as inspiration. It was then that he was fighting. I understand that spiritually now. I didn't understand it before. I was just looking at patterns. He was fighting then. And whenever he felt like he was losing, is when he would go away or stay away. And when he had the mental clarity and the peace and the reminders of love within is when he would come back and make these attempts. And I really don't know if it was healthy, if it was toxic at the time. I don't know if it was healthy or toxic now. It's just I have a different view or different opinion now. Um, I don't want to try to turn around and make it seem like he was some type of fucking, hero. Um, but I can tell you this: July 21st of 2021, he walked out of our lives, right? And it is now April 30th. It's April 30th of 2024. And I have had plenty of time to think and rethink and try to understand and overstand and understand and forgive and forgive. Now that I'm here now, um, and have a different level of understanding, like you got to know this is like 21, 22, 23, yeah. This is April, May, June, July. Okay, so this is like 2.5 years now of searching for peace and understanding and overcoming so many things in my heart and my mind, because you also have to know that um in the beginning I didn't blame myself. I absolutely blamed him. I'm just like, he got something going on with him. And then somewhere in the middle I had to realize I had to take accountability, because nothing is ever 100% someone else's fault, right? I don't care if it's the tip of the scale. It could be 80-20. It could have been majority of his fault. It could be 60-40, but there's still some accountability that I had to take. And so I have been on this journey for the longest time, all while not keeping him away. You know, he chose to stay away, and again, I didn't know why then. I'm just felt like it wasn't healthy mentally or emotionally, especially for the youngest one, to be in and out of their lives. But I didn't say anything because I did not want to be the type of parent that try to turn the kids against the other parent. That's not my MO. That's not who I am. What I did do was pray an awful fucking lot, because our youngest was old enough to be able to recognize patterns on his own as well. And I just left it at that. And I think I'm numb. I have been on an emotional roller coaster for the past 2 days, and I just think I'm numb. I don't hate him. I never hated him, even though I was so angry with him. Because it's like, I don't like what you're doing. I don't like this person that I've seen you become. You know, it's like you're not family orientated. Like you used to be family orientated before. You know, now you're not. And I played another, part in me like, okay, well, he just don't want to be here. Like he doesn't want to be with me, and I had to like accept that. But I still never hated him. Never hated him. Angry at him, yes. Not liking who he had become or who he shown me that he had become. But I didn't hate him. And I can say that with sincerity and not feel no type of way about it because I didn't hate him. And I didn't wish death on him. And so this death is it's a shock to me because I also remember telling him, that part of the breakup where you can't be together even though you really still really want to. I remember saying to him, well, maybe right now is not our time. You know, maybe our time is later. Maybe we still got some shit to get together or some changes to make individually so that we can be together. You know? And I'm 48 years old. And I said, by 52, I will be in a loving, successful marriage. I assumed that it would have been him. I assumed because of how I felt for him. We were engaged, you know? We were engaged. And just bear with me. I'm fucking grieving, you know? Still in shock. Still feel like it's unfair. Kind of still angry, because you used to be a fighter, you know? And even if you were still a fighter, like, did you fight this time? Did you fight this time? He got into a horrible accident and was pronounced dead on the scene. That's what the detective told me. And for someone that I know used to be a fighter, it's just so hard for me to grasp. I'll cuss him out. I'll cuss him out. I am not proud to say that sometime it got physical. That's just real life relationship shit sometimes. It just fucking goes that way. I don't know why. I know it's not healthy. I know it's toxic. I know all the shit that the psychiatrists and the psychologists say that's not supposed to happen, but sometimes it just happens that fucking way. And yeah, he was the strongest man that there was just this certain way that I looked at him. I guess that's why it hurt too, other than the fact that I was in love. He was fine, y'all. Fine. Always a nice looking brother. Always put his shit together well. Strong, nice body. And I remember years ago, he didn't even like for me to call him by his street name. His family called, everybody called. It was like it was like not like how gangs are now, not like tags. It was a street name, almost like Pookie or Black or. I remember he said to me, "Don't call me WAP. That's for out there. That's for out in them streets. When I come in this door, I'm not WAP no more. I'm a father. I'm your man. I'm your husband. Address me by my government name. Don't call me that street name shit." He taught me a lot. He taught me a lot. First man I ever lived with. Ever. Ever. Wait a minute. The only man, the first and the only man I've ever lived with. there was these signs that there were these signs that, that I lost them. And I'm not speaking about another woman right now. I'm speaking of there were these signs because there's like these little staples of things that like couples do. That we no longer did. That he had obviously forgotten. Damn it. So I did this live. When death is it's so weird. It brings about like a weird energy. Everyone is uncomfortable, don't know what to say. It's a very sensitive time. Thank you guys for tuning in, watching this. I just wanted to do a live, but I needed to end now. So I wish you guys peace and blessings and continued healing. And I will check back in as soon as I can.